Emma Larson sat at her polished mahogany desk in her Boston advertising agency, the hum of keyboards and the faint scent of fresh coffee filling the air. Her fingers danced across her laptop, finalizing a pitch for a major client, when her phone buzzed sharply. The caller ID flashed Lila School. Her heart lurched. Her daughters, Sophie or Ava. She answered, voice tight with dread. Emma Larson speaking. Mrs. Larson, it's your husband. The school secretary's voice trembled. He was hit by a car outside the school while picking up Ava. It's bad. He's at Boston General's ER. Emma's breath caught, her mind flooding with images of Michael, his deep, warm laugh, his steady presence, the proud black father of their daughters, Sophie, 10, and Ava, 5. His confident stride, rooted in his heritage, had always grounded their family. She grabbed her purse, stammered an excuse to her assistant, and rushed through Boston's bustling streets, the red brick buildings blurring as she whispered, "Please, Michael, be okay?" The hospital's emergency room was a chaotic swirl of beeping monitors, hurried nurses, and a sharp sting of antiseptic. A nurse, her face taut, explained, "He's in surgery. Severe spinal injury and multiple leg fractures." Sophie and Ava arrived with Emma's brother, Tom, their eyes red and swollen. Sophie clutched her backpack, Ava's small hand trembling in hers. Emma knelt, pulling them into a fierce embrace, her voice cracking. "Daddy's going to be fine, I promise." Hours crawled by, each tick of the waiting room clock amplifying her fear. The surgeon finally emerged, his scrubs wrinkled, his expression grim. "He's stable, but the damage is extensive. He'll need multiple surgeries and years of therapy." In Michael's room, he lay pale, his dark skin stark against the sterile white sheets, tubes snaking from his arms, machines beeping rhythmically. Emma took his hand, her fingers trembling. "I'm here, Mike," she whispered, tears spilling. "We'll get through this together." Michael endured 3 grueling surgeries over the next few weeks. Emma was his rock, feeding him soft meals, assisting with painful therapy sessions, and driving Sophie and Ava to school each morning. Their suburban Boston home, with its warm wooden floors and framed family photos, became a makeshift hospital when Michael was discharged in a wheelchair. A physical therapist visited weekly, guiding him through exercises that left him wincing. Emma rearranged their lives, moving their bedroom to ground floor, sleeping on a narrow cot nearby, her ear tuned to his every groan. At first, Emma's resolve was unshakable. She took leave from Larson Creative, the agency she and Michael, a talented black designer whose sketches brimmed with cultural pride, had built from late-night dreams into a thriving business. But as weeks stretched into months, Michael's slow recovery, marked by setbacks and sleepless nights, wore her down. The girls needed her attention. The agency's clients grew restless, and exhaustion seeped into her bones. She considered hiring a caregiver but hesitated, haunted by a past nanny who had neglected Ava and stolen from Michael's wallet, leaving them wary of outsiders. Emma shouldered the burden alone, cooking dinners in their cozy kitchen, bathing Michael with gentle care, and managing the girls' homework. Tom stopped by occasionally, bringing groceries or taking the girls to the park. But Michael's sister, Lisa, in Australia, could only offer tearful phone calls, her voice distant across the miles. Emma began lingering at the office, her phone ignored as Michael's texts piled up, simple requests for water or help repositioning. One night, when he called out, she snapped, "Can't you wait?" Guilt flooded her immediately, but resentment, like a quiet shadow, grew in her heart. David, Michael's best friend since their college days at MIT, returned from a work trip in Chicago and visited their home, his presence a rare relief in the suffocating routine. "Mike, I'm so sorry," he said, sitting beside Michael's wheelchair in the living room, where sunlight filtered through sheer curtains, casting soft patterns on the hardwood. David, with his easy smile, brought bags of groceries, played card games with Sophie and Ava, their giggles echoing through the house, and helped Michael with small tasks, like adjusting his chair or fetching a blanket. Emma, her shoulders heavy with fatigue, felt a flicker of gratitude, a moment to breathe amidst the endless demands. David's visits became more frequent, often stretching into the evening, his laughter filling the quiet house like a forgotten melody. His gray eyes lingered on Emma, a subtle shift she noticed but didn't address, her mind too clouded by exhaustion. One night, as Michael dozed in his wheelchair, the soft hum of the TV in the background, David found Emma in the kitchen, washing dishes under the fluorescent light's cold glow. "You're carrying too much, Em," he said softly, his hand brushing hers as he handed her a plate, his touch lingering a second too long. She pulled back, her pulse quickening, a dangerous warmth sparking in the quiet space. "I'm fine," she murmured, but her voice betrayed a tremor, a longing she hadn't acknowledged. Their interactions shifted, a slow unraveling of boundaries. David's text grew warmer, laced with concern that felt too personal. "How are you holding up? You deserve a break." His touches became deliberate. A hand on her shoulder as he passed, a lingering smile during coffee breaks in the living room. One evening on the back patio, under a fading summer sky streaked with pink and orange, he leaned close, the scent of his cologne sharp in the warm air. "You're more than a caregiver, Emma. You're a woman with needs, with life in you. Don't you miss feeling alive?" She didn't stop him, his words stirring a longing buried under months of duty. Michael, his keen eyes catching her distracted glances and fleeting hugs despite his pain, sensed a change. "Do you still love me?" he asked one night, his voice low, vulnerable, cutting through the silence. Her "of course, Mike," was hollow, a lie that hung heavy, wounding them both. 3 months later, Emma stood in her office, the Larson Creative logo gleaming on the wall, a symbol of the dream she and Michael had built from late-night sketches and shared ambition. His sacrifice, leaving his design career to co-found the agency, once filled her with pride. Now it felt like a chain. Their home, once vibrant with laughter and Michael's stories of Black resilience, had become a cage, its walls heavy with silence and routine. Michael, quiet in his wheelchair, his proud Black heritage still evident in his unyielding spirit, was a shadow of the man she'd married, his once lively eyes dulled by pain and medication. David, vibrant and attentive, his casual jackets a stark contrast to Michael's loose T-shirts, filled the void with a warmth she craved. His presence a reminder of the life she felt slipping away. Emma couldn't bear it any longer. The agency's demands, the girl's needs, and Michael's endless care overwhelmed her. Each day a grinding repetition of tasks. She sold Larson Creative to a competitor. The decision a knife to her heart, but a desperate grasp for freedom. She packed a bag, her hands shaking as she folded clothes in their dimly lit bedroom. Michael asleep in the next room. On the kitchen table, she left a note, her handwriting jagged. "Michael, I'm sorry. I can't do this. I'm leaving with David. Please forgive me." She and David drove off into the night, the suburban house's porch light fading in the rear-view mirror, leaving Michael, Sophie, and Ava behind. Michael found the note at dawn, the paper crumpled in his trembling hands, his sobs echoing through the house. Sophie and Ava, in bright pajamas, clung to his wheelchair, their small hands gripping his arms, their faces etched with confusion. "Why did Mommy leave us?" Sophie whispered, her voice breaking. "I gave her everything, my career, my heart, our family." Michael cried to Lisa over the phone, her voice trembling from Australia. Lisa arranged for Clara, a nurse with a gentle efficiency, and Mrs. Brooks, a housekeeper with a warm maternal presence, to help. Clara brought medical supplies, Mrs. Brooks cooked hearty meals. But Michael sank deeper, barely eating, his once vibrant eyes dull with despair, the weight of betrayal crushing his spirit. 8 months later, Michael collapsed during a routine checkup at a local clinic, dehydration, exhaustion, and depression overtaking him. Clara, her scrub stained with sweat, rushed him to Boston General, navigating the chaotic ER with practiced calm, her voice steady as she relayed his condition to doctors. Sophie and Ava stayed with Mrs. Brooks, who baked vanilla-scented cookies to distract them, the girls' small faces pale with worry. Awake in his hospital bed, Michael wept, his voice raw with anguish. the sterile room amplifying his loneliness. I should have died in that accident. I've got nothing left. Emma took it all. His cries reached Ellen Carter, a 60-year-old retired nurse visiting a friend in the ward. Drawn by his pain, she approached his bedside, her steps soft on the linoleum floor, her presence a calm anchor amidst the sterile chaos. "I lost my partner to illness," she said, her voice steady with empathy, her eyes kind. "I know what it's like to feel the world's gone dark, but you're still here and your girls need you." Michael, his eyes guarded, listened, his heart stirring faintly. Ellen returned daily, sharing stories of her own grief, losing her partner to cancer, rebuilding through small acts of courage. Her words, warm and unhurried, became a lifeline. "Let me help you rebuild, Michael," she said one afternoon, her hand resting lightly on his. He nodded, his defenses crumbling under her persistent kindness. Ellen used her charity foundation to fund Michael's transfer to a state-of-the-art rehab center in Toronto, arranging every detail with meticulous care, flights, accommodations, even a therapist who specialized in spinal injuries. Lisa, in Australia, welcomed Sophie and Ava into her home, their laughter over video calls a faint spark of joy, their voices echoing through her sunny living room. Michael began intensive therapy, the crisp Canadian air a stark contrast to Boston's weighty memories, his body and spirit slowly reawakening as he pushed through pain with gritted determination. In Toronto, Michael fought through grueling therapy sessions, each step a battle against searing pain and lingering doubt. The rehab center's bright rooms, filled with encouraging staff and the hum of exercise equipment, became his battleground. His strength, rooted in his black heritage and unyielding determination, shone through as he progressed from a wheelchair to crutches, each milestone a testament to his resilience. The first time he walked unassisted across the therapy room, his crutches set aside, tears of victory streamed down his face. "I'm still here," he whispered, a vow to himself and his daughters. After 6 months, he returned to Boston, crutches in hand, to the house he'd shared with Emma, now wearing comfortable tees and cargo pants. The familiar street, lined with oak trees, felt different. He wasn't fleeing his past. He was reclaiming his future. Ellen visited often, her floral blouses a familiar sight as their bond deepened over shared coffee and quiet talks on her Cambridge porch, the scent of jasmine lingering in the air. One evening, under the glow of a sunset streaked with gold and crimson, she confessed, her voice soft but certain, "I've fallen for you, Michael, not as a savior, but as a partner who sees your strength, your heart." He paused, his heart stirring with a warmth he thought he'd lost, and accepted her proposal, tears in his eyes. "I want to build something new with you," he said, his voice steady. Their quiet wedding, attended by Lisa, Ellen's 2 grown daughters, and a handful of close friends, was a simple celebration of hope in Ellen's book-filled Cambridge home, its warm lighting and shelves of novels a haven of laughter. Michael and the girls moved in, Sophie and Ava's giggles echoing to the halls, their new family a fragile but growing light. Michael needed a driver for his new adaptive SUV, its sleek silver design tailored for his mobility, a gift from Ellen's foundation to ease his independence. Her team hired a woman named Emma Larson, unaware of her past. At 7:15 a.m., Emma arrived at the Cambridge estate, its sprawling gardens and marble steps leaving her awestruck, the grandeur a stark contrast to her faded dreams. When Michael entered, his crutches clicking on the polished oak floor, his tall, black frame commanding despite his injuries, their eyes met. Emma paled, her driver's cap slipping from her fingers, clattering to the ground. "You must be the driver," Michael said coolly, his navy sweater neat, his voice steady but laced with distant edge, his dark eyes unreadable. "I didn't know it was you," Emma stammered, her voice barely above a whisper, her blue eyes darting away from his gaze. He pointed to the SUV in the carport, its chrome gleaming in the morning light. "It stays clean, fueled, and moves when I say. That's the job." She nodded, shame flooding her like a tidal wave, her hands trembling as she clutched her coat, unable to bear his steady presence. She turned and fled, her footsteps echoing on the gravel path as she disappeared beyond the estate's wrought iron gates. Michael watched her go, his heart stirred only by pity for the woman who had once been his world, her betrayal now a distant ache. Emma stumbled back to her cramped Boston apartment, its peeling walls, flickering bulb, and musty air a stark contrast to the life she'd abandoned. After leaving Michael, she and David had fled to Paris, chasing a dream of glamour in a city of twinkling lights and cobblestone streets. David spent her agency sale money on designer suits, lavish dinners at candlelit bistros, and champagne-fueled nights, only to betray her with a wealthy Frenchman at a neon-lit nightclub, its pulsing music drowning out her shock. When she confronted him, her voice shaking in a crowded bar, his cruel laugh cut deep. "You left your crippled husband for me, Emma. You're nothing now. Nobody wants you." She slapped him, the sound ringing out over the clink of glasses, and was arrested, then deported, her dreams shattered on the cold Parisian streets, her suitcase barely packed as she was escorted to the airport. Back in Boston, jobless and broken, Emma learned Michael had rebuilt his life and was now Mr. Carter, married to Ellen, living in a home filled with love. David's final message, sent from an unknown number, laid bare his jealousy. Michael had everything: love, family, success, that unshakable strength. "I took you to hurt him, to tear down what he had, but you betray me too." The words burned, revealing her role in his vindictive scheme and her own folly in believing his hollow promises. Trembling, Emma typed a message to Michael, her fingers hesitating over the cracked screen. "I'm sorry, Michael. I was a fool. You gave me everything. Your heart, our family, our dreams, and I threw it away for nothing. Thank you for raising Sophie and Ava, for being the father I couldn't deserve. I want to be better for them, even if it's too late." Michael read in the warm glow of his Cambridge home, his dark eyes steady, his heart untouched by anger or pain, only a quiet closure. He didn't reply, having forged a new life beyond her betrayal, his strength a beacon for his daughters. That night, Michael joined Ellen, Sophie, and Ava for dinner in their Cambridge home, the scent of roasted chicken and mashed potatoes filling the air, the clink of silverware mingling with their voices. Laughter echoed as Sophie recounted a school story about a science project, Ava giggling beside her, her small hands waving animatedly. The bookshelves, lined with novels and family photos, and the soft lighting wrapped them in warmth, a stark contrast to Emma's dim apartment, where she sat alone on a sagging couch, weeping into her hands. Michael's strength, forged through pain and rooted in his proud black identity, shone brightly, a testament to his resilience. Emma, staring at the cracked walls of her lonely room, knew she'd lost a life she could never reclaim, her tears a silent acknowledgement of the cost of her choices.